What's up, world?
I just, I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
They
Insert here.
Yo.
It's a terrible game. Bottom line, it's terrible in every way. Graphically, it's terrible. Gameplay is terrible. It's just terrible.
Angry Nick mad.
That game sucked, and it's gonna suck no matter how many revisions they make, and it just sucked even more because they put a Kinect with it.
Angry Nick mad. Or if there's violence, I'll just laugh and enjoy the fun.
Kaz Hazari.
Kaz Harai.
They just kind of got tired of Angry Nick on the first one and say, I'm gonna pass.
Oh, yeah, so I do. It's me, precisely.
No.
I
No.
do all my work.
No.
And
You guys
unfortunately,
are
I
so
don't.
cute.
Oh, thank you. I try.
I mean, let's face it, Mario, and to a lesser extent Zelda, is what carries Nintendo at this point.
Always be radical.
I love you, little podcast. You're the bestest thing ever.
For the promise of a new Super Smash Bros. And the Zelda game, yes.
You will not find a better story presented in any other game genre, in my personal opinion. Like, JRPGs have that. They have that story.
That's what the entire game felt like. Oh my god, I want to bang my head into a wall.
Can someone remind me? I thought it was a video game podcast.
You're listening to the Game Source Podcast.
What do I do with my hands?
So much for the start of that. Hey, this is Aaron OSU Water Polo here with your Game Source along with Sam.
Gerald's not here, what do we do? It's already ruined.
Yeah, I know, Gerald's not here. First thing, Corey throws his hands in the air, like right as it starts. He's like, we're done.
It's a gift. It's a gift.
Yes. But I'm here with Sam, and Corey, and you guys can introduce yourselves.
Well, I'm Sam.
And I'm Corey.
And I'm Other Sam.
This is a train wreck already. Let's just quit while we're already so far behind.
Hey, we can start over, but it's more fun to truck through and
Oh god. Gerald's probably watching like, oh, this is what they do without me. He's gonna just jump on and be like, alright.
He'll take over when he feels like it. But yeah, this is Game Source Podcast 117, I really hope, because the last one I've seen is 16, so...
That'd be embarrassing.
If it's not 17, I'm screwed, because that's what all the marketing says. But, yeah, I really should have thought this through. You've never seen my interviews, you know this is how they go.
Gerald would have been prepared.
I am prepared. I have his little script over here.
The script Gerald wrote. We can't do anything else without Gerald.
We can do everything except for the script.
We're gonna talk about like breakfast food for an hour.
Peanut butter crunch.
Bacon.
That sounds good too.
Bacon.
Dude,
It's not just a breakfast food, it's every meal food.
It's in not only in every meal food, but it's in every in-between meal food as well.
Corey, do you just have you just sew pieces of bacon together and it's like a fruit by the foot of just bacon?
It doesn't last long enough for me to sew it. As soon as it comes out, it's like, bacon in my belly.
Just get you like a Chuck E. Cheese ticket dispenser of bacon?
Yes. You would be my favorite person, Sam, if you did that.
I'm already your favorite person. What are you talking about?
This is true.
Okay, so Aaron, take the lead.
No, but bacon is so much fun.
You need to control us.
No, it's more fun to talk about bacon. I don't know if you guys have had much hands-on time with the 3DS, but the new 3DS. But other than the horrible naming scheme, which we have harped on to death, what are your all's impressions of the new system?
Well, my boyfriend won't let me buy one, so I am not allowed to contribute to this conversation.
I love the idea of having a C-stick.
Yeah, that's
having that second stick. As soon as the 3DS first came out, I've been wanting a second stick without having to have peripherals.
Does your thumb kind of automatically try to go for the C stick and then you're like, oh, it's not here?
Yeah, all the time. When the Zelda game came out, the Ocarina of Time, it's let me just move around the camera, and I can't move around
Well,
the camera.
original
That makes me
Ocarina of
sad.
Time didn't have a C-stick either, so
I know.
it wasn't as painful of a transition.
It was, I was wanting a 3D game, but I can't control a camera in a 3D game. It just made no sense.
Yep. Other Sam?
Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to work that naming convention out.
I think it's Valkyrie and King Sam.
Valkyrie and King.
Backup Sam too. One dive.
Reserve Sam.
Honestly, there's just like a few cosmetic changes, like the buttons are different colors. I don't have one personally. I do like the idea of like you can change the faceplate. I think make it more personal.
Not in America.
Yeah, if America ever gets one.
Well, yeah, well with Nintendo's the flag thing going on, but also the 3D is much better, from what I hear.
Yeah, doesn't it? Isn't it better about if you move it, it doesn't completely destroy your
it actually tracks your eyes.
Oh.
So I think that's.
I don't like that. I don't like a machine that can do that.
No, it tracks your face, and so if you tilt the system back and forth, it no longer goes in and out of focus. It'll actually shift the 3D so that you can now see it from the angle you're at. So, if you're playing Smash and you're, just going at the buttons, you no longer see 3D, so a lot of people just turn it off. But now, in games, if you move it, it's still going to seem 3D to you, but I still don't use it for anything but cutscenes because it just, why waste the battery?
Well, what I was saying, the reason why I said it's eyes is that they call it that face tracking, but it's actually monitoring your eyes. That's how they get it.
Oh, is that what its reference point?
That's its reference point. Kind of like with the Kinect. I believe I'm correct with this with the Kinect, is that it kind of looks at your skeletal system, so that's why it can track your joints and stuff, but minor. I still don't think it's worth to get if you have already a 3DS.
Yeah, unless you're getting Xenoblade Chronicles.
Oh,
you kind of have to. And I'm a fanboy, of that series, so I had to get one. And if I'm going to get one at launch, which I did, I'm going to get the Zelda system because it's the exact same price and does the exact same thing.
Good luck finding it.
Oh, I got one.
You got one? Are you serious? Did you get it like the second it was announced?
No, I waited at Target the morning of.
Oh, okay, I didn't do that.
Yeah, see, I knew, I worked there, so I knew how many we had.
Oh, well, that's
and so I just went and I told everybody how many we had and when I was going to be there, and no one freaking believed me, so I was there when I said I was going to be there, and I was first in line because I wanted one. So, yeah. That was a very long day because my shift started at 8:15 and the store opened at 8, so that was a very, very long day. But it was worth it to me because if I'm going to get one, I might as well get the Zelda one for the exact same cost, Yeah. So it was like, yeah,
It doesn't come with the game, though, right?
No, it didn't. It
That
just came
seems
with
silly.
the pretty faceplate that isn't removable because America doesn't have the normal one. We only had the XL with non-removable faceplates, which is stupid. But whatever. Yes, thank you, Reggie and NOA, for that interesting decision. But, yeah. That's enough about that. What did you guys think of the Order 1886 and all of the lack of being completely amazing the way that Sony needed it to be?
Well, I didn't play it, but I read Sam's review, so that was just as good.
And that's what a review should be, is make you feel like you were there playing the game with them. Yeah.
I don't know why I don't just come to your house and watch you play it.
Like, that's what I did this weekend.
Yeah. So, Sam, you were the one who actually reviewed it. What did, for those who didn't read your review, what did you think of it?
Okay, so everyone knows the graphics are just mind-blowing. Like, just damn those graphics. yeah, you know what? They nailed that. Good job, Ready at Dawn. You got that covered. Like, go make a movie. Story. I actually really like the story so far. It's kind of like the Assassin's Creed, and where it's mostly historically accurate, but with twists. Like werewolves.
What do you mean twist? Wait,
Werewolves
what?
exist.
Vampires that don't sparkle.
Oh, well, that's just not true. We all know vampires sparkle. Come on. Haven't you read the biographies?
I mean, it's literally
Twilight?
the game is like Edward or Jacob. No.
Be the best subplot.
It
It'd be funny if there was like this teenage girl in love with a werewolf and they just like killed her. It's like,
There's
oh.
a chicken game, so maybe. See how this goes. I haven't finished it yet. I heard it was actually pretty short, so I've been kind of like pacing myself. But yeah, story really good, and the fact is like they can make another game out of it. Like I really enjoy it so far. I like the character development. I think the characters have some depth. Not extreme, but it's a game, it's not a book. So gameplay is what kind of made me die a little inside. So many QuickTime events, and don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with QuickTime events. It's just there was this one point in which I just felt like I hit rock bottom because it was a boss. I thought it was going to be a boss fight, and it turned into a QuickTime event. And I'm like, well, glad I was there for that. I mean, I mentioned this in my review, but it just feels like I brought the controller to a movie theater and just pushed buttons when I felt like it. I mean, it is an FPS. You do have some shooters, shooting scenes. Kind of feels like they're holding my hand.
That's the worst, though. Like in a game like that, like that's the last thing you want.
Yeah, and what's weird is like it's kind of well, I can't think of the word, but there's like when you explore games, you look for clues, or like sometimes the games will like kind of highlight something and you go over to check it out. And part of me is just like when you go over, they kind of look like clues. Sometimes he mentions something, sometimes he doesn't. And I kind of get the idea of like realistically, if I was in that situation, I wouldn't know exactly what to look for. I'd probably rummage around stuff if of course, if I wasn't being shot at. But part of me kind of feels like they purposely put it there, and it was just like, ha, I got you. Wasted your time. I mean, like, there's an achievement if you like look at all the newspapers, but sometimes I get a photo of like a chef and the conductor like smiling. I'm like, great, I needed to see that. So
yeah, it almost seems like they put it in and didn't finish what they were doing with it. That point.
Yeah.
It was initially supposed to be released last year, right? It was delayed, or is this
October, November-ish? It's supposed to be. Well, at least when I went to PAX and saw, that's when they said they were going to release.
Because I was pretty sure it got delayed, so I guess
It's
it was
been delayed
it
a
got
few
delayed a
times,
lot.
but yeah.
Yeah. No, it's been delayed a lot.
But it just, a lot of people's complaint is it feels incomplete. The gameplay is very lackluster. The story was decent for a game. Graphics obviously beautiful, but it's like they completely forgot about the gameplay, and then there are elements in the game that just feel rushed and unfinished beyond just the
yeah,
gameplay.
like the clues for me are the ones that I'm like, why the hell did I need to look at this? So Hidden Egg, one of them has a Zelda on the back of it, and she's a prostitute. But
like you sent me the picture and I didn't exactly know what you meant, and I'm like, oh.
yeah, and Groot's in there too. Kinda. They look like Groot. It just like if you look at the back of the game, there's like one quote from Entertainment Weekly. Like, great
nice.
graphics. I'm like, oh, that's true. But,
This is a game.
But if you have to rely on your taglines being great graphics, probably means everything else is lacking in some major way. Because graphics should be the least important thing to a game. You know, they have to be decent. But if you, I'd rather play an amazing game that looked like a PS1 or 2 game than, you know, the next
totally
Avatar
agree.
movie with ET gameplay. You know, I mean, it's
No, I
companies are getting
completely
it
agree
backwards.
with you on that, and that's why when I sat down and I turned the case over and I'm like, there's one quote. I'm like, oh crap.
I was excited for this. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get me a PS4 so I can play The Order, and now I am not.
Yeah, I mean, like I know people say the story is decent, but I'm gonna give them credit for it. Like, I think it's like above average. I'm not gonna say like, oh my god, like I need this in my life story, but.
Well, I
you
don't
know.
think there's been anything this gen that is amazing yet.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. There's nothing.
I mean, Smash and Mario Kart are great, but they're not like amazing the way that games in the last couple generations were. There's been nothing this gen that screams everyone needs to go out and buy this system to play this game. If it's the only game you ever play on this system,
I would
there's
say
been
that's
nothing.
Smash for Wii for sure. Like that, that's the only game I would feel comfortable making that recommendation for.
Yeah.
Corey, say something.
Hello.
I thought it was
Say
going to say
something
something.
helpful. Contribute.
And all honesty, you guys are talking about Nintendo and PlayStation, and most of you know that I do Xbox, so I'm waiting for the next one to actually, you know, make my splash.
All right, let's go.
Let my voice be known.
To make Corey happy, we will go to 2 things away instead of the next one. No. We will go to Evolve and its wonderful DLC setup and what you guys feel about them stabbing us in our pocketbooks.
And all honesty, I was actually just looking at the DLC for it. It actually looks really nice. Like, they're including free maps for the entire, like, support of the game. The only thing that's being paid for is additional characters and monsters, and that's really it. Like, they're from the looks of it, the season pass includes the four hunters, one for each class, and then the new monster, which is Behemoth, and he looks awesome. But that game didn't make me happy. That didn't make me happy at all. Made me sad, actually.
Why is that?
I felt that it would be more. Like, it makes me sad because, like, it has their storyline to it. It's not really a story. It's just like 5 things that you play, and they're all just have like little random stuff added to it, and that's it. That's all it is. It's all just a strictly multiplayer game.
Man, this has been a bummer of a podcast. All the games I was super excited for are just letting me down. I don't even need to play them.
That's how this whole gen feels, though. Not, I mean, has there been anything really and truly, you know, that everybody had to
I
go
like
out and buy?
Titanfall a lot. I did like Titanfall, but
But a lot of people didn't. There's been nothing that was like across the board. You need to go borrow your friend's system and play this. You need to go over to their house and play.
I personally loved Dragon Age. Dragon Age.
Yes,
was-
but that was still last gen and PC. You know, that's not next gen.
It was Titanfall, if you want to talk about Titanfall, but it's and a lot of the next gen games, when all these games are being made for the next gen, and then they're being ported back to the old gen, just so people with the old generation can be like, oh hey, I want to play a game too, and they're like, okay, here you go. But it's a dumbed down version of the game itself. But in all honesty, that game does take a part of a lot of the next gen hardware that's given to us. So I personally really enjoyed Dragon Age.
like Destiny, I was really excited for Destiny. Same kind of deal, but I played it and I was like, you know, it's fun, but it wasn't just show stopping for me.
I still play it every Tuesday just for the raid. That's it.
Yeah, I haven't played it in a while. I just kind of put it to the side. I don't even know what level I got to. But I was like, yeah, this is fun. Like, you know. But then, yeah.
If I'm gonna grind in a game, I'm gonna do it in World of Warcraft, not a shooter. It's just how I feel on that one. But That's beside the point. But Corey, you may know this better than me, but I had read somewhere that the season pass on Evolve, even if you bought that, there was still like $136 worth of DLC that you didn't get by buying the season pass. Or am I just going crazy, which is very possible?
It could be possible. But yeah, from what I'm reading, it's just the characters themselves.
Okay. Might have
But
been
you also get like skins for everything. So I guess that could be where your $130 is at, because you get skins for all the characters or for the monsters.
Okay, that makes sense then. They're running more like a I didn't actually read the article. I just read the title. Sounds more like they're running like a League of Legends, Heroes of the Storm, Dota 2 type thing where you buy the characters and then you get these skins separately. Yeah. Okay, that's not as bad as what I had read.
The main complaint I think about it is they didn't feel that the base game was worth the $60. So it's like
I agree with that. Because all it is, once you play it, like once you play through each game type, like it gets extremely repetitive, especially if I like to do bots because I don't like playing PvP very much. But like if you get somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, they're either going to hold back the team, or if you get a monster that doesn't know what he's doing, he's going to end up just like you'll end up killing him in like 5 minutes, and it's not, unless you get like a really good group of people all the way around, even the ones that you're going against, it's not very fun.
Well, that's like any multiplayer game. If you don't have balanced, even teams, it's nowhere near as fun. I mean, yeah, sure, it's fun to slaughter the other team once in a while, but if that's all you ever do, it's no fun. You want people who beat you so that you can learn from it, and people that challenge you so that you can have that oh my god moment of when you actually do beat them. And I think a lot of games are missing just the matchmaking balance. Not even the balance within the game itself, but the matchmaking balance that we're used to on PC games. I still don't feel many console games have that right yet. Unless you're like top tier, super duper competitive, and then there's very few other people, so everybody's that good. So supposedly the Round Table of Doom is returning.
Round Table of Doom.
Doom.
Yes. So I was never here for that, so I don't remember quite what that is. So I will let one of you two start that off.
Wait, I don't have the script in front of me.
It says the Round Table of Doom returns. That's the next line on the script. Yes, that's all it says. I mean, under it says Nintendo supply restrictions, but I thought that was a separate topic. Or
maybe it's
the
just how about this? How about here? I got it. So, we're bringing back the Round Table of Doom, just not right now.
Doom. Next episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna plant that seed now, so you can get excited. Like, oh my god, I love the Round Table of Doom. It was my favorite. Yeah. So get excited.
Because we totally want it to be better than what is it?
This is one of those can't function without Gerald things. We are just a sheep.
We can.
What is this?
We just aren't nearly as organized.
For those of you who have joined us after a moment, maybe it's just to explain it. Maybe that's why it's on there. The Round Table of Doom. It has been around since GameSource's beginnings, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, I'm the most veteran member here right now. What?
Not by much.
By like a couple weeks. But yeah, so without Gerald here, I am the most senior member of the GameStar staff right now. That's terrifying. Yes, the Round Table of Doom is a segment where normally we would have a topic to talk about, and it's kind of a point counterpoint, but with multiple people, we go in a round robin fashion, and it's basically just a big argument that Gerald tries to mediate. So. If you
so like a normal podcast.
I'm pretty sure that the next topic is for the Round Table of Doom.
Is it for the Round Table of Doom? Alright, well, that was a brief introduction of what the Round Table of Doom is.
Way to go, Sam. High five.
Woo!
Yeah.
All right, what's the topic? I wasn't listening.
Nintendo's supply restrictions, are they always leaving too much on the table? So I'll let you start it, Sam, since you're the oldest person here.
So. Oh my God! Wait,
and
where
by
did my
old, I meant the
internet
longest
go?
person here.
Hang on, am
Your
I
internet went away.
Sam, you're still here. No, you're not. You're frozen.
Nope, there she froze, and she's joining back.
Yeah, I
Now
got
there's
kicked.
two
My computer got
of her.
so excited. Oh, there is two of me. That's weird.
There is two.
My computer got so excited. It was like Roundtable of Doom, and then it just kicked me out of Firefox. I don't know what that other means. Oh, nope, there it is.
I just kicked the other you out, and that was totally gratifying.
Oh, well, I'm glad.
Oh.
That's why we have a reserve, Sam.
Exactly.
I will not have a backup.
Yeah, that Sam was your backup, Sam. So that was your understudy, just in case. It's a picture. Your understudy is a picture of me. So I really need you to deliver.
In my capabilities is just right there.
You know, before it was me, picture of me, you, but now you have surpassed picture
I've
of
replaced
me.
the picture.
Yeah,
And the picture,
moving up in the world.
Yeah, I know. It's one of those things. You're like, can you shop at Trader Joe's? Yes, I'm moving up in the world. Have I replaced Sam's picture? Yes, I am moving
and
up
it
in the
got
world.
kicked. There can only be 2 Sams, so the third Sam got kicked. But yeah. So, are they leaving too much on the table? I think the problem is there are not enough things on the table. I understand that, creating a demand, creates news and creates more desire for things. But at the end of the day, if you're not giving stores things to sell, you're not making any money. So that's something that has never made any sense to me. It's like, oh yeah, when the Wii came out, the Wii Fit came out, I worked at Best Buy at the time, and every Sunday people come in, do you have them? Do you have them? And it's like, no, and people are like, they get mad at us, like, oh, why don't you have them? It's like, not my fault. And I don't understand. It's like, Nintendo, you could be making this money, but you're not, because you're not giving the stores, I've been on the retail side of it, and it's just like, I have never understood it. If someone can explain why that is a good idea, please do it right now.
At the beginning of the system, the first couple of weeks at most, if the news picks up on, the Wii shortage, which the real ABC, CBS, Fox, okay, Fox isn't news, but the real news channels, if they're picking up and running the stories that there's shortages out there and that it's going to be the big Christmas gift, hard to find, that's through December 14th, if you're leading up to it, that is great for a company to hear, it's on every news channel. That's more free marketing than they could ever afford. And then if they could flood the market on the 14th, 10 days before the Christmas, that would be great for a company. The problem is that most companies don't manufacture that shortage on purpose. It's accidental. And we're sitting here in February, and there are still shortages of many of those things. And Nintendo's always been notorious for having shortages on systems and big launch titles when they come out. But the other side to that is, you've worked retail. I think most of you guys have. If a game comes out and your store gets 50 copies of it, and you only, I'm guessing that's Gerald joining. Yes, it is. With one of his daughter's buckets.
Help us!
But, if you order 50 copies of the game for your store, and you actually get 50, and you only sell 10 of them, you're sitting there with 40 copies on your shelf trying to sell it. Now, Nintendo has, we'll say 8 major companies that they send to, each of those with somewhere between 1,000 and 3,000 stores. If every store has 10 copies that they don't sell after 2 months, that's wasted money that Nintendo's left on the table. So,
Not necessarily.
No,
not necessarily. when they send the product to the stores already purchased it from Nintendo. So what ends up happening is that Nintendo already makes their money regardless of whether it's been purchased by a customer or it's been stolen or it sits on the shelf. Nintendo makes the same amount of money.
Now sometimes you have a situation where you have a buyback, where the company Nintendo will buy it back from a retailer.
If it doesn't sell in a set amount of time, or if Nintendo cuts the price, they will give the retailer that amount of money to make up the difference, which is why you very rarely see, price cuts on Nintendo games until they're years and years old. But, there are definitely ways that retailers are not going to get screwed in that by letting them sit on the shelves. A lot of the risk is still taken by the manufacturer, no matter what the item is, especially in like a Target, Best Buy, Walmart. I don't know if GameStop gets that great of a deal, but they probably do.
Gerald, quick, what kind of day is it?
It is a sick day for me.
No, well, what day is it in general?
I'm at a loss. Say
it! The one thing I need you to say.
Is it someplace in paradise?
Yeah, it's another.
It's a almost beautiful day in paradise. It was snowing in parts here earlier.
Yes, it was.
Yes, so our beautiful days came last week, so that's why I think I forgot.
Our days are still pretty good.
Quit faking, Gerald. But I mean, I do think that Nintendo underestimated the demand. I think they did want some shortages. I don't think they wanted this much shortage, because if they could sell, I mean, what'd they say, 5.7 million amiibos, I think? If they could bump that number to 6 or 7 million and still have the shortages that they have, I guess 6 isn't really that big, but I mean, if they could have bumped it to like 7 million and still had a ton of shortages on maybe only 5 or 6 characters instead of 15 characters, I think Nintendo would have been much happier and be probably exactly where they wanted to be. I don't think they expected people to be scalping them the way that they do, because every morning there are people that come in and check, and they're like, no, scan the back. I want to make sure you guys aren't hiding them in the back so that you buy them afterwards, and I want to see the screen that says 0. Because they know, the scalpers know how to come in and, get what they want and be done. And it's really annoying that they exist. But I think that's probably 80% of Nintendo's problem right now, is that the scalpers caught wind of it very early on before they even came out. And so they're the people hitting the stores up. It's not really gamers that are out there doing it, or even collectors, but it's the scalpers who are flipping them all on eBay that's causing the biggest shortages.
Well, at the same time, it's not just that, because like I personally work in retail, and I'm actually like one of the managers especially over the gaming department. And what I see is that, like, before stuff hits the shelves, I personally look at like pre-orders as well as how many I'm getting in, and in all honesty, I'm very rarely getting enough just to meet all my pre-orders. If I get enough, it's barely just to meet dead on with my pre-orders to where I don't even have any to sell. So it's more than just like people just coming in just to purchase a whole bunch of them. It's all of my pre-orders only have one per, and like some of them have been getting canceled from our .com website before they even come to the stores, like months before it even ships out. So it's definitely they're not being manufactured enough to be able to supply the demand that's.
Am I the only one who read that they're in a labor strike and 70% of their supplies are in the?
No, that was one of my points. I just wanted to bring that one up last. But that was a great time.
I didn't know, Sam.
I was like, I don't think it's a supply problem. I think it's their strike problem, and the fact that they have manufactured enough. It's just stuck at the port.
Well, I don't see that, because I think all of the the Majora's Mask 3D XL limited edition systems, I think all of them that Nintendo made have been pretty much sold. I don't think they're sitting on a boat out in the San Diego harbor, because there's last I heard there were 10 boats waiting to be unloaded, and that the docks themselves are piled so high that it looks like just Container City out there with skyscrapers made out of containers. But I don't think that on the limited edition Zelda system that there are any more sitting on a dock anywhere. I think what people have seen are completely there. But I think there are definitely some amiibos there, but is it going to be... Do I believe there's Marth or Rosalina or
I think
Mega
there
Man?
is, because from what I read is that according to I can never say their name. Kotaku. K-O-T. Yes, thank you.
There you go.
It was either from them or from a article I found based on them, from Nintendo. I can't remember. I'm sorry, but they were saying that they could get over the lighter objects, such as just the game cartridges and such, but they could not get the heavier objects, such as the Majora's Mask 3D XL. They were not being shipped.
I did read the same thing, that the games were being shipped and that the heavier things like systems and amiibos.
Yeah. So
I think they said systems and action figures on the one I read, but to me that means amiibos, because that's the only one Nintendo personally makes. The games are getting here, except that, most places, at least in Vegas, are sold out of Majora's Mask and Monster Hunter 4, both of which Nintendo is doing.
Yeah, but the strike is based on the West Coast ports. We don't know if the games in Las Vegas are having them shipped.
Well, they said they were being flown in, the games, because it's cheap enough for the game. All
I know.
But it could be the port. I just don't think that the port is the only reason. I do think Nintendo is purposely doing some of it. They've always done that. I mean, if you've ever seen an interview with some of the higher-ups and somebody asks them, what do you think of the lack of supply of the Wii or this specific game, or even dating back to the GameCube and the Game Boy Advance, the original the original DS. There's always a grin on their face when they say, "Yeah, we know there's a shortage." I don't think Nintendo is as fazed by it as we all think they should be. I do think they are definitely missing out on some sales, but they're still getting the sale. It's just that the middleman is now making money. To me, that means Nintendo could raise their prices more than making more at this point.
I disagree because I think, if even long time.
This is my podcast. You get out.
I'm gonna cough my way through it here, but
I have cough drops. I can just
you and Aaron were sick last week. Now it's my turn. I got my OJ here. I just think with I'll give Jeremiah Super Pouring an example on how frustrated he is as a consumer. He is a longtime hardcore Nintendo fan. He won't tell you. Maybe he will. I don't know. Just knowing him personally for so many years now, he adores the Nintendo product and is a very big fan of what they're about. And to get him into an uproar in regards to this Majora Mask 3DS and not being able to find it anywhere, that just is to me a small sample size of what I've seen and read and heard around the country in regards to the availability of these products. It's something Nintendo has done time and time again, and at some point, Nintendo fans, even long-time Nintendo fans, are going to say they've had enough, and they're not going to buy Nintendo products. And I understand they're of the big three. They are, as far as they have the least amount of resources when it comes to maybe shipping, manufacturing, things of that nature. But at some point in time, over the past 25 plus years, they have needed to address the problem. Artificial shortages, things of that nature that they've created over the years, that might not work in 2015. And they may need to address other ways of trying to get products to their consumers. Otherwise, you see the problems with the Wii U. Okay, they're not even at 10 million sold, and that's an issue. They had a year head start. So, and that has that's the only thing really that Nintendo has produced that has had an availability, bar none. And you just with the problems that they're going through right now as far as the amiibos, certain amiibos.
But that almost makes the point for me. You could pick up a Wii U at launch. There was no news coverage of it because there were no shortages. You know, and they
there was also not that much interest. That should have been the news. That should have been the news item that there was not as much interest in it because of the soft launch. And obviously you can see by the numbers that they're basically a year head start, but yet they're half of what PlayStation 4 is, and what 20-30% behind what Xbox One is doing. And that to me, they send mixed messages about their availability. What they have that people want, they're not able to get to consumers, whether it's a planned or not planned thing. That's a problem that they need to address, and they need to address it quickly because, you know, right around the corner, holiday is going to hit, and if they're not prepared for it with more amiibos, Zelda Wii U is going to be available, you know, all those things. Hopefully, you know, whatever Nintendo 3DS XL, new Nintendo 3DS XL is available.
Well, see, I don't think that one's nearly as bad. We've been restocked on that twice already. On the red and black system, we've been restocked twice on that already. You know, the Zelda system, they originally said it's going to be a very limited edition system. So I think they did exactly what they wanted with that. Yes, they could have sold more, but I don't think they wanted everyone to have the limited edition system. It makes it it's no longer as limited as intended. But yes, there are people who are going to be upset with that, but every Target in the country got multiple systems. If you really wanted one, you could have taken the day off and camped out for it. You knew that months ago that you would be able to do that on that day.
There were people. I do know people that sat for 9 hours waiting for it.
Yeah, I got in line at 1:30 in the morning to get mine because I wanted it. And Target sent out an email a while before. It never said Majora's Mask or anything like that, but it was just a general reminder that said, you know, Target employees are not allowed to hold back street-dated material. They have to either wait in line outside like everybody else or buy it on their break or lunch at least 8:30 or later if you were working.
But
take your break at 8, grab it before the people walked back.
But I just want to hear Sam, and Corey as well on what I originally not Aaron. I didn't mean Aaron. Aaron, I didn't mean like that. I want to hear what they have to say as far as, because obviously you're saying that you don't mind them leaving money on the table, and that's why I brought that question up.
I do think they are leaving too much money on the table.
Okay, they're good.
I will definitely say that. I think their target is probably being at about 90% of where they want to be, so that there is a month, 2 weeks of, oh my God, the world is ending, I can't find this. You know, if the Amiibos had come out like that, you know, oh my God, I can't find them, and then everybody searches really hard for 2 weeks to a month, and then Nintendo gets them back in stock to places, I think that would have been fine. And I think that would have been the better plan than to, you know, have more than enough out there so that people didn't, you know, they'd still be sitting on the shelves if they had put too many out. But I do feel Nintendo wanted to have some sort of news cycle of, are there shortages of this, and drive the secondary market up. Yes, they don't get anything from it, but they do get the word-of-mouth marketing. I think they're just shoving too many Amiibo waves out at a time to do it. I think instead of having one wave a month, which we've basically done so far, they should have a wave every other month so that we have a second shipment of each wave. Instead of basically most stores, it's you get one shipment of Amiibos and that's it. There is no replenishment.
I'm just going to say this. This is a company that for 2 straight years was having horrendous losses, and we were seriously talking about the dire future for Nintendo. They made a
They have
small.
so much cash on reserves, they weren't too worried.
They made a small profit in 2014. Let's be reminded of that. If they want to continue making a larger profit, they need to have the products people want on the shelves. And if they're not going to do it, you know what? They're going to turn to other places. It's 2015. People have cash to burn, and people who have cash to burn have other ways of spending their money, whether it's on other electronics, other products, other game systems, what have you. Corey knows this. You know this. Sam knows this. Both Sams know this. When if you're not going to get what you want at first, there's obviously something else that you probably want and need, and you'll just go and get that instead.
Yes, to some extent. But I mean, if you are someone who truly wants this and is one of those people who is really pissed that you are not able to get this, you are going to get it one way or another. I do think Nintendo is taking too long to get that replenishment of the amiibos out because they've promised it to us. I mean, I knew early December that they were doing a second run of Mars. They still haven't got it to us, and it's February, 2 months later, and they still haven't actually done it. I feel they are leaving money on the table, but I think some of it is more an investment on the table so that there's more money. They're leaving too much right now, and the return on it is too small. I think they need to be, instead of putting 60% of the demand out there, they need to be at more 85-90%, so that there is some, but not a complete end to it. I get so that there is an end for the average consumer to go and be able to see it on the shelf instead of, calling the store every day, which anybody who's worked retail hates when people call you every day looking for the exact same item. And I do think Nintendo is screwing, especially retail employees, but leaving too much on the table more than they anticipated. But I do think the plan was to leave some there, I guess. And I'm going to shut up because I'm rambling.
I think that's about the end of our list, right?
We can make up stuff. Like, why is Gerald's blanket pink? That would be an awesome topic.
Because he's got 2 daughters?
That's correct.
Yes, but he's almost hiding it. I want to see the whole thing. He needs to show the whole blanket, not just a corner of it while he's wrapped up. My Little Ponies.
Oh.
Okay, that's what we needed to know.
In honor of Michael Speakman. There you go.
Yes.
Hey,
that is not his daughter's. Just for anybody listening, do not believe it when he says that's his daughter's blanket.
Well, I'll throw this out.
He made us get him for that at one of the conventions. It was for him.
Well, I'll throw this one out there. I know Sam. Thank you, first off, Sam, for doing a tremendous job on the Order 1886 review.
Oh, I thought you were congratulating me. I'm like all excited to like.
He's all like,
but
thank you for defending you.
Well, hold on. My score would have been, it was been right in that ballpark. It has its issues, but I won't digress. I actually wrote a piece on it myself, just before it came out, because I was privy to the entire game, and yeah. Well, that's not. That being said, the game is actually done pretty good. It's actually #1 in the UK right now. I know it's sold okay here in the US. My question is, with the Xbox One, it was brought up today that there might be an exclusivity problem with games that are not really coming out from a first-party nature that are of a high quality. Had lots of issues. First off, the Master Chief Collection, obviously Drive Club, now the Order 1886, depending on who you speak to. If you look at Metacritic, the scores are all over the place. Whoever gave it a 9.5 and whoever gave it a 2 needs to just not be in the business anymore. But that's my opinion. There's so many different, first-party games that have not done very well. Yet, as opposed to Activision, which seems to churn out, solid hit after solid hit, 2K, same thing. I want to get your guys' opinion on what do you think that Microsoft and Sony need to do to actually make better quality games from a first-party standpoint. Corey, Sam, or Sam?
I would say that as far as putting out better games, in all honesty, I would rather see not so much on the focus of first party rather than just support the third parties with a better system and a better operating system for the games to go on versus actually focusing and putting attention more towards first party games. Because from, like you just said, Gerald, the quality of games that have been coming out from first parties have been, for lack of a better word, terrible. It would be best to just focus. Like I know one of the big things that both companies are focusing on for this generation is indie games, and I personally love indie games, and I really want some more indie games for my system. Just keep it going.
Well, I know that PS4. I know that was their initial initiative.
Mm-hmm.
Bad two words put together right there. To focus on bringing a lot of indies to their system, and I know that with Microsoft's initial policy was, that you had to not be able to put it simultaneously and release it simultaneously on the PlayStation 4. I know that kind of detracted from a lot of good indie games being on that system first. Although Microsoft seems to have relented a little bit in that in a favorable direction, so hopefully, guys.
Didn't they say it's going to be on a case-by-case basis now? Which means, yeah, if the game has sold 1 billion copies on PlayStation, yeah, we'll let you put it on here. But if you only sold like 20,000 copies, we don't want to see it on our system unless you put it on at the exact same time. We don't want to give you the time to release it on that system, make some money, invest that money into the game on my system. No, I've got to have it up front where it could be buggy. Sorry.
Sam, what do you think? Do you think the Xbox One is going in a direction, or PlayStation 4 going in a direction where they will be able to create a better experience from a first-party standpoint? I know that the Rise of the Tomb Raider was a great get, but that's kind of like, that's not a first-party. That's kind of like a second-party type deal going on there. But there's been a lot of first-party releases that have left a lot to be desired. Let's go. I guess, Sam Paremba, as far as what are your thoughts on how, what these first parties can do to actually make you be more like Nintendo, which seems to bring out quality releases time and time again.
I definitely agree with Corey in the sense of, if you're going to make a first party or just an exclusive game to a console, like, why not just kind of go all out? Like, like, a lot of times what causes problems is the differences between the systems. So if you really focus on, this is what the console excels at, go with it. Like, go big or go home. If you're going to make an Xbox exclusive, make it work best for that system.
And this is why we get along.
There you go. Ms. Romano, what would you like to say about that?
Well, looking at how it's doing, I think the PS4 is 3-to-1 on sales with the Xbox. And
get out.
Yeah, we're not going to be friends.
I like
Xbox. Corey, let's go back to our Xbox club. Let's go start an Xbox party, and Sam's not invited.
Xbox. I wasn't even allowed to have a PlayStation.
I think it's according to VG charts, it's 19 million to 11 to 9.
My point being is I'm not saying that the Xbox isn't a good system. I think there are things about it that, like, my boyfriend has that I'm, like, sitting there like, that's really cool. Like, I really like what they did. I just feel like with Microsoft, it's kind of a little bit on their back burner as far as games because, they're doing the whole, the Windows 10 to Xbox. I feel like they're kind of working more on some refining and maybe adding some more features to the console to make it more distinct.
Do you think that? I'm sorry, I wanted to ask you. Do you think that they're still, at this point in time, still not entirely over that debut that they botched, and anybody who tells me they didn't, sorry, they did. As far as with the Kinect and heavy emphasis on that and whatnot.
Things happen. Like, it's a business cycle. Things are going to go great. Things are going to go terribly. It's how you move forward. And I think that they have the resources to put in a really good game. They have the resources to improve the Xbox. And unless they keep going the way they are, I think that they could make a real difference and up their sales. As for Sony, I mean, obviously their sales are doing great, but you got to keep thinking, you got to keep moving forward, like I said. And I do really like the idea of opening up more to the indie channels. Allowing these like third-party game developers, a little bit of the spotlight. Like, I still play Citizens of Earth. I think it's a great game, and yes, it is. It's adorable, and it's one of those things where, like, yeah, I don't care if you have an Xbox or a PS4, you should just play this game. And as for the individual consoles, I completely agree with Sam, is focus on their strengths, and I think that's how they will progress. And that's about it.
I think right now all the the two major systems have an issue with no great games. There is no game that I feel is going to be on a top 10 list of this generation on either of those systems. But on the other hand, if we went and said, the only thing that really matters is great games, then Nintendo should be winning, because Smash and Mario Kart are great games. They will probably both be on the top 10 list of this generation, and nobody is still playing them. So I think no one has been able to find the balance this generation of making a game that has mass appeal and delivering on all the promises of that game. I mean, the order was especially short, which upset a lot of people. Drive Club and Halo both had huge online issues. Destiny had issues at the start. Titanfall basically went from game of the century to a joke overnight at the launch of it. I think I read the same article Gerald did, where it said the two best exclusive games on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One was Second Son for PlayStation 4 and oh God, what was that game with the mutants or they turned into mutants when they drank the
Sunset
energy
Overdrive.
drink? Sunset Overdrive. Yeah, sorry. But those were the two best titles, exclusive titles on the system. And when those are the two best titles on the system, and they're better than average, don't get me wrong, but I think by the end of the generation, they'll only feel average, But
Sunset Overdrive was really good.
I still want to play. Like, I need to go over to your house, Sam.
It was so good. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
But I mean, is it going to be the type of game that every time DLC comes out, you're going to immediately buy the DLC? You're going to hold onto your disc and not trade it in. I don't think it's quite that good. That, if they come out with a DLC for it in a year and a half, people are still going to be going crazy for it. The way that, I mean, if they made a Call of Duty Black Ops 2 DLC pack right now, people would go out and buy it like crazy, even though it's multiple years old. I just feel that there's no game that has legs, I guess. The lasting power to drive a holiday and then drive through to the next holiday. There's been nothing on either of the systems that has had that type of appeal.
Well, hopefully, from
bugs.
a first-party standpoint, maybe Bloodborne could be that title.
It's too niche. Too many people are going to be scared off from the difficulty of it.
Possibly. It's just, but like I said, it's just something that PlayStation 4 is another exclusive in their hat. Xbox One has a lot of great smaller titles. Ori and the Blind Forest, Scream Ride. They're both coming out next month, which definitely show a lot of promise as well. I mean, there are some glimmers of hope up until the fall season for both. But at this point in time, it's just a weird marketplace. I think that we're in because all this like you said, Aaron, and I give props to you. I mean, there's just not one particular game that's held on to consumer interest. Sunset Overdrive is a very good game. Very, very good game. And Sam Romano, if you ever get a chance to go over, kick down Sam Parimba's door and you play that game.
I need to. I know.
Yeah.
We'll trade. We'll just trade. You can play the order for a little bit. I'll go play Sunset. It'll be fun.
But that's why Xbox had the confidence in attaching that and bundling that. Now, mind you, they bundled the two Assassin's Creed games, also as well, but that's beside the point. But they obviously had a confidence in bundling that white Xbox with it. I don't know how it did sales-wise outside of it. And that's something I would like to talk to Corey about. Did it sell strongly outside of the bundle?
Sunset Overdrive?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sold really, really well. It was a strategy with my team to make sure that we talk about it, with it being the big exclusive that had come out. So we sold it quite a bit.
Okay. Well, fair enough. Like I said, that's one thing you worry about, because sometimes the numbers get inflated when it just comes in a bundle and whatnot. So.
Well, even the bundle was hard as hell to keep in the store. Like we put it on the shelf, and then someone would grab it and buy it. Put another one on the shelf, it would be gone. Like they were really hard to keep in stock. So.
I just think that both Microsoft and Sony need to evaluate how they're doing as far as from a first-party standpoint, and they knew the Order 1886 was already delayed, I believe, from a holiday release.
Yeah.
So they could have actually just delayed it even more. And I wanted to say something I mentioned in my article on my ESL Slips page that I wanted to run by you, Sam Romano. What would you think would you have been more pleased if you were able to play the story as a New Game Plus with from the standpoint of the other three characters and see it from their vantage point? It would have lengthened the game, but I think for me the story was the most attractive part of the Order 1886.
Yeah. That's an interesting point. It kind of reminds me of this old Sonic game where you could play as some of the other characters and see there you could either good or evil and play a Shadow of Sonic. Sorry,
we'll play as Lady Igraine.
Yeah, I see the Percival or Lafayette. Yeah,
yes.
That would be actually really interesting because they do split up. So they do come back together quite often, but it's like, yeah, that would give they would see some different things. I would see that more as like a DLC. Maybe, or if anything, they would have to add more content to the other characters for it to be included in the full game, I think. But they could make it a DLC, I think. I think that would be feasible.
Well, I hope they do, because like I said, to me the story and Sir Galahad were well constructed, but after that there's a lot of things that make it fall apart, and I just hope that with the way it's selling now, bad word of mouth besides, it's still selling strong enough so that it might elicit a sequel. So let's hope so.
I think they have a strong enough story, I believe, to do a sequel, and I hope that they take the constructive criticism well in the fact about the QuickTime events, and hopefully the second game will be great.
My only question on Gerald's wanting the other characters to be playable, and I agree with Sam that DLC is the right way to do that, but if they did it out of the box and had each of the other characters go off and do their own thing, is that going to take away from the main game? Like, I don't know how many levels there are, but say there's 5 levels in the game, and they all split away, and they each have their own separate level. Is that going to make the main game 2 levels now? So that you're really not getting more content, you're just getting different types of content.
But the idea behind it, and I'm sorry, spoilers. That it's regarding a conspiracy, and that's one of the main points surrounding the Order 1886 itself. And to see that vantage point from Sir Percival, that would have been outstanding. to see
Yeah.
Lady Igraine's her story as far as evolving from, how should I say, someone that she's known for a long time. When Revelations come about, that would have been fascinating. And with Lafayette, he's just to see it from the fact that he wasn't initially in the order, and to see how he grows into that responsibility would have been. They're all fascinating characters. They're all fleshed out. That's the only one of the few good, really, really well done aspects of the Order 1886 was that these characters were fleshed out. They're interesting, and the story to me was interesting. And something that, well, they left it open for a sequel, very plainly, and then hopefully, or DLC, like you said, Sam, and hopefully they will be able to do that in the future.
But, I mean, the game has already been delayed quite a few times to get to where we are. Clearly, they didn't have enough time to put anything else in to include any sort of semblance of gameplay. To have those alternate storylines, they're going to have to lose something else. If
I'm
they
getting you
put
six
it
out.
on
Quick time events? I'll lose that. I'll lose some of the... No. Yeah, no, you could definitely make more objectives with the other characters. There are definitely times in which... Oh, puppy. Sorry. There are definitely times in which, Galahad's like, Lafayette, go this way, Ingrain, go this way. And if I was playing as Ingrain, okay, this is what I need to do in order to meet up with Galahad and secure whatever. Like, there's definitely enough you could do for it, and it wouldn't take away from the main story.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I have not played the game, but I mean, I can imagine, other games where they did that. And sometimes they split up and are completely different places, which means they'd have to make new worlds, or new levels, I should say, completely from scratch. But from what you guys are saying, it sounds more like they just have to make each of the levels bigger, really, more than anything. So I guess my fear of having to lose content to make content, wouldn't be as bad. So.
Well, I think that does it. I lived through this podcast, so...
You're like a tenth of it, you slacker.
Well, thank you. I'm breathing my sick germs on you. So, any last thoughts of what you guys are working on? Sam, Corey, Aaron, what you guys are working on for upcoming things for the site? I know.
Majora's Mask.
There you go, Majora's Mask, indeed. Sam?
I'm going to finish up the order, and I'm playing Majora's Mask as well, but let Sam take that one, because I know that you love Zelda. Otherwise, no, I'm not at the moment. Just finishing up games, quite frankly.
Oh, no worries. Will there be another King of the Valkyrie podcast, maybe?
You're going to have to take that up with the King half. Because I work during the day, and he works at night.
Awesome. Well, you can have a special guest right there.
Yeah, just have him come to my office
She can
and
be
record.
the backup Sam and the backup King.
Well, you had talked to me before about doing something else, a special project of your own.
Sam and Sam Power Hour.
There you go.
God.
By all means, I know it's a big hit. And Mr. CNC himself, I know you...
Am I taking both C's?
I hear you're the second C.
No.
I hear apparently he's both C's now.
I am both C's now. I have become one C.
I heard a rumor that you guys are still headed to E3. Is that correct?
He is. I am still up in the air about it. Because family things are coming up in May, so I have to fly somewhere else. And so I might not be able to fund my way into Cali.
Oh, no worries, but that, dear God help us all, we're setting Chris loose upon the world at the Los Angeles Convention Center.
No chaperone.
There you go. It's all your fault, Corey.
It is. I'm usually the voice of sanity there, and I keep everybody calm. And
Yeah, those are the words I would use.
I don't know. What are you insinuating?
I'll line up a whole bunch of appointments for him so that he'll stay on track, maybe. No, I'm sure.
Don't give the appointments to Nick. That's all I'm saying. just don't do it.
No, Nick is unfortunately not going as well this year.
He did well this year, I must say. He actually kept me and Chris in line. Me and Chris were all over the place, and he's like, all right, guys, we have a place to go, people to talk to. And me and Chris didn't want to go, but we were like, okay.
You still missed the important one, which we won't mention any names. But, yeah.
Did we? Did we miss one?
Yeah.
Who did we miss?
Chemco.
That's
Which I'm the
important.
only person in the world who cares about it because I get a free game from them every month, but, you know.
Well, we get lots of free games, and if you're interested, by the way, as anybody out there, if you're interested in free games to review, we get a ton that we just cannot all take up as a staff. So if you're ever interested, just send us a line, info@yourgamesource.com. Become one of our staff. We've got great people here already, and we're looking always to add more. We've got a great experience.
Yeah.
Yes, and we're just looking forward to doing a lot more. So,
I mean, I
Aaron,
met somebody in Heroes of the Storm. They wanted to do it. We got them the game. We just sent the review in today, so hopefully in the next couple of days we get it through editing and it'll be posted. And
yeah,
you know, it's just like that, and you can be a staffer making fun of me and Gerald and Nick.
well, there you go. So any last words before we head on out, Aaron? Send us home, Mr. Host.
Oh, yeah.
Number one. Did you say this was number 117? So
yes, I did, and we were like, oh god, I hope it's 117, because if not, we're totally screwed. It's what all the marketing says. Yes, this is podcast 117 with Your Game Source, and you can find us at yourgamesource.com, GameSource on Facebook, GameSource on Twitter, all that fun stuff. You can watch us stream on our Twitch channel of GameSource, and you can catch lots of podcasts and other things on our YouTube channel.
and thank you to everybody, and
well.
thank you for the over 1,000 followers we now have on Twitter. Thank you so much.
Yes, definitely. This is Aaron, OSU Water Polo, and I'm here with people. Go for it. Introduce yourself again.
My name is Corey. I am both C and C of CNC Mother Podcast.
I'm Sam, the 7th Valkyrie, and currently Sam 1, presently, because I got here first.
That's
No, you didn't. You left and came back, so you're now Sam 3.
Oh,
You're
did I
Sam
get...
3.
No,
Did
because
I
Sam
get
3.
demoted?
Sam 3
Yes,
was up there.
you're Sam 3.
Sam,
Yeah.
Sam, and picture of Sam.
Yeah. I'm Sam 2, and I am King Space Cowboy Princess. And, yeah, backup for Sam 1.
But above picture of Sam.
It's nice to know. It's nice to know I'm loved.
And then that other guy is Gerald, yes, Elvis Lives,
And
better
it's a
known
beautiful,
as.
better known as, and it's a beautiful day in paradise when I feel better. So, thank you everybody for listening.
Beautiful day in
watching.
paradise, getting to see him in a My Little Pony blanket.
There you go. Although if they're listening
That's
to this on
worth
the
him being
MP3,
sick.
thank you for describing it for the people who's listening in on this on the MP3. Awesome, man.
Yes, if you are listening in, you need to click to over to YouTube and just watch the last 4 minutes so that you can see his awesome blanket. Show it to us again. Yes, awesome blanket.
My house is ruled by my daughters.
That's what he
As
wants
it
you to
should
believe.
be.
It's really his stuff, and they're not allowed to touch it. Anyway, this is yourgamesource.com. Thank you for being here with us.
Do you love games, breathe games, and bleed games? Then this is the crew for you. If you are interested in editorial, podcasting, live events, and exclusive content, make sure to hit us up at info@yourgamesource.com and become part of a team that is dedicated to delivering all the greatest and latest in gaming news and content, all here at yourgamesource.com.